Hey runners, welcome back to a new session of Let's Write a Song. So, working on a new song here, and I think since the last one I had a little bit of a space where nothing was happening. And that's often the case. You get to the spot where you've finished up one, and now you have nothing. And that moment is, for a songwriter, I assume that moment is kind of crappy because you're all proud of the last one and now you have nothing again. It's much easier when you have something and you're working on it. Now, you could be working on something that's terrible. And at that point, you don't necessarily know, but you try to work it until it's not terrible. At least that's the way I go about it. There are people who write a lot of quick songs and then they shelve them and come back to them here and there, or discard them. And these are the people who have hundreds of songs sitting in a drawer or on a hard drive. I'm more the sort of where I keep working on it until it doesn't suck. Or if it does suck, try not to talk about that one. Any sense. I got a new 8-string ukulele, and I tried recording it on a cover I'm working on, and it's kind of weird sort of sound, really. A 12-string guitar has a cool little bluesy sort of sound, and it gets a little bit of that from the different strings being octaves, where this 8-string I thought was going to be the same. It was going to be low G, high G, and so forth. But instead, it's a low G and high G on the low string. Well, you're 4 if you're counting up. And then all the others are just pairs. So that's interesting. It sounds kind of doubled and chorusy, but doesn't give you that blues sort of thing I thought I was going to get when I bought it. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell to do with the thing. Anyway, as I was playing along, I came up with this riff. Now, sometimes songs happen like that. You get chord songs, you get songs that come from lyrics, and then sometimes you get a riff. In my case, I was taking my family to Disney World for fall break. And yes, we did do Rise of the Resistance. I wouldn't be skipping that. But with a whole long drive in front of me, of which, pockets of traffic and so forth. I think it's one of those things where from I live, Waze will say it's a 6.5-hour ride, and then 8.5 hours later, you might arrive. So it always ends up being more than it predicts, and significantly so, unfortunately. Construction, accidents, you don't know. You drive for a while, everything's good, and then, you hit Macon. I don't know why. Anyway, as I was driving along, my mind starts to wander a little bit. I'm paying attention. I'm listening to the radio, but it's a long stretch, and it's a long stretch without a ukulele in hand. Now, I'm not saying I wrote a song while driving. That doesn't actually happen, at least for me. But an idea came to me, which was to title a song, "It Comes and It Goes." I don't know why the phrase kind of came to me. Actually, the full phrase that came to mind was, "It comes and it goes. You left me standing on the side of the road." And I don't know, it feels like something I've heard somewhere before. I know it comes and it goes. It's sort of like the Eric Clapton song. It's in the way that you use it. It comes and it goes. So maybe it's something from that. I don't remember listening to Clapton while I was driving. But "It Comes and It Goes" is the working title of this thing. Once we have some lyrics, it may become something completely different. But for right now, it comes and it goes. And then we were playing on the 8-string, and came up with a little riff. Now, I'm going to play the riff cleanly. I like to play with a little bit of distance where I'm purposely banging on the other string while I'm playing, but I'm going to play it for you what it sounds like straight. It's like... So I zoomed back a little bit so you could see the full fret when I'm playing. So that sounds kind of cool, but I like it with the dissonance, so I'll probably play it like... Okay, so when I'm banging on that C string along with it, gives me a little drone. like that riff. Kept playing it. I was trying to figure out what goes with it. And as I was noodling around, I came up with chords that are probably much it, where it's like. Yeah, all right. So what does that mean? Well, I think when I go to record it, I'll play the riff. And then I may drop it out in the mix at the first occurrence and let the bass double it. On some of the earlier tracks that we did with the runners, myself and Phil would play, some kind of sequence of a riff. We did this on If Only You Should Fall, the first Saint Simon Killer song. And it's got a cool effect when you do that, right? You get a little bit of a lead electric uke or guitar playing along with the bass and sequence, and that's kind of cool. And I think we'll do that at some point in this song. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to use this riff or where I'm going to use this riff, but we can guarantee that the riff is going to be used in the intro and the outro. And in those places, when I go to record it, I'll record playing along with I'll be recording the riff while I'm playing along so that it exists on the recording. And then Phil will play along the bass and double it. And then I think in mix, we'll drop out my part for the intro and then the last line of the outro so that it's only bass. And in that way, it kind of feels a little Joy Division-y to me. So cool. I think he'll like that, and maybe he'll make it for a fun song. But where do you go from there? Well, we know that we're going to need to be able to use that riff again in places. But I don't exactly know where it is. It's too long of a riff to be able to use in between every verse or as like the pre-chorus, I think. But in any sense, you got to be able to have something to do with the verses because, frankly, I don't think I can do a lot of singing while I go to right, because I'm just going to end up singing exactly what I'm playing. So I'm not going to do that. But I had the idea of using those chords for some of the riff, for some of the verse. So we might do something like. I really need something that comes off of that riff because just playing it twice kind of sucks. And then we need something more like a 7. That's okay, I guess, but maybe something that comes. When I was playing along just now, I was doing this kind of thing. But I don't think that fits the song. Oh, yeah. I gotta come up with that. Keep playing it again and again, and maybe I'll land on that first one. It's okay, but you can only really do that one time, right? If you do that every time, that's going to be bad. So we're going to come up with something else. And then for the verse, we got this. And go here. I don't have any lyrics yet, but never fear. They'll come eventually. Maybe this is the chorus. Back to this. That little one on the end is cool, but you can't use it every time. But less is more. All right, so we know we got verses, and maybe this is the chorus. I don't know, but it feels like it's more like a pre-chorus. So I'm trying to find like some kind of big chorus to come out of it, and I'm not sure that it's got a bridge, but I'm thinking that there should be like a minor key sort of instrumental. Maybe we'll just do the bridge as an instrumental instead of something with lyrics. So I was playing around with this idea of going at A minor to E minor. Doesn't seem to fit it now that I'm hearing it. About E minor to A minor. No, it kind of sucks. How about D minor? Nope. E minor F? No, I don't know. Maybe coming back to G at some point would be good. Kind of like that. Or G7. I love the sevens. It's part of the name, I guess. So anyway, that's where we're at with this song. We've got a working title. We got a phrase that left me standing on the side of the road, which is pretty generic. We have no real meaning for the song yet. I don't know what the hell it is. It comes and it goes. I don't know. Maybe it's the traffic. Not all my songs are about traffic. And then we got a riff. A little bit of a verse, right? And we're going to play around with those to try to figure out how those pieces go together. But that is why I like songwriting, and I hope that you do too, or at least participating in the live stream. Because maybe somebody will participate in the live stream one day. You never know. I'm going to hear by myself. Bueller? For the old Gen X people. Anyway, we got some pieces. And that's what I like about writing songs. As I was saying, it's really about making a puzzle work. So we've got the different pieces, and we try to put them together until it becomes something. That's where that whole, you heard me talk about in the last live stream a bit. I think of songwriting as channeling. It's a little bit of like a magic trick. You have something and it just kind of comes to you, sort of like that phrase. It comes and it goes. It came to me, and then it went. So we got this. I don't know. So that's a big thing that for writing songs, coming up with lyrics. You look for phrases, and I kind of borrowed this one loosely from some Paul McCartney stuff I've seen. It always comes back to the Beatles. And you're just making up nonsense lyrics over the top of stuff. So we got something that met in the bar. All right, well, we might have found where it comes and it goes. It happens. And that's how it all happens. It's pretty accidental, but with purpose. Thanks for joining me. We'll see where we end up with this in future days. This one won't be in sequence. I'm not posting every day as I work on it, but I will post again soon or stream again. Thanks for watching and listening.